You know how, like, when a new movie comes out
Yeah.
and, like, everybody's talking about it?
Yeah.
Well, imagine, like, a movie comes out
Mm-hmm.
and it gets all these rave reviews, it's
Right.
winning awards and everything,
Yeah.
but nobody in Hollywood wants to even talk about it.
Huh.
That's kind of the weird situation we're diving into today with The Apprentice,
Okay.
a movie about
Yeah.
Donald Trump's rise to power.
Oh, wow.
It's a strange one for sure.
It's definitely an interesting case.
Yeah. And the silence around it just seems to have gotten so much louder
Right.
since his reelection.
Yeah, since Trump's recent reelection, it's gotten even more noticeable.
Yeah, it's like the whole industry is just like, nope,
Uh-huh.
we're not going there.
Right.
So for this deep dive,
Yeah.
we've got two main sources.
Okay.
We've got a Reddit thread
Mm-hmm.
from Or Politics
Okay.
where users are debating,
Yeah.
like, what is the reason for the quiet treatment?
Right.
And then we have an article from The Hollywood Reporter, and they're taking a closer look at how the industry is reacting.
Yeah, interesting.
So what do you think is the most curious aspect of all of this?
Well, for me, it's got to be the reactions of the stars.
Mhm.
Jeremy Strong and Sebastian Stan.
Oh, yeah.
They've both come out and said that they're frustrated,
Yeah.
that their film is being ignored
Yeah, and it's gotten great reviews.
and critically acclaimed.
Right.
Strong even said afraid
Ooh,
when he was talking about the industry's response.
Wow.
So that's interesting
Yeah.
that he used that word.
Yeah, that's very telling.
Right.
And it speaks to a larger theme, I think,
Mhm.
that emerges from both of our sources.
Okay.
And that's the fear of repercussions.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of the Reddit users,
Right.
and even The Hollywood Reporter,
Yeah.
are suggesting that Hollywood is genuinely worried about retaliation
Uh-huh.
from Trump and his base.
Yeah.
And they're kind of afraid to say anything.
It makes sense given his history
Yeah.
of attacking anyone who criticizes him. I mean, he uses his platform to do it.
Exactly.
It's not unfounded to be worried about that.
Yeah, there was one Reddit user
Yeah.
who even compared it to McCarthyism,
Oh, wow.
where people in Hollywood were blacklisted for their political beliefs.
Right back in the day?
Yeah. Do you think that we're seeing a similar thing play out today?
It's a really provocative comparison, for sure.
Yeah.
But it highlights,
Yeah.
like, what could happen if you speak out
Right.
in a really intense political climate.
Yeah.
Now, I don't think anybody's being formally blacklisted or anything like that.
Right.
But there's definitely a sense of caution.
Right.
Like, back then, being outspoken could actually cost you your career.
Right.
But today, it's more like lost opportunities.
Oh, so it's not even like a direct attack.
Right.
It's like this chilling effect
Exactly.
where you just don't even want to go there.
Yeah, just avoid it altogether.
Yeah. And that actually connects to another idea that was brought up
Oh, really?
in the Hollywood Reporter article. And this is the possibility that Hollywood is actually losing its influence.
Oh, interesting.
And particularly when you compare them to, like,
Yeah.
the tech giants in Silicon Valley, do you think they're feeling maybe a little overshadowed?
It's a good point.
Yeah.
The article actually talked about how
Yeah.
conservative media personalities have been super vocal
Yeah.
in their support for Trump,
Right.
but liberal Hollywood has been really quiet.
Yeah. Like noticeably quiet.
Yeah, and that could suggest that the centers of cultural influence are shifting.
So is this a sign that they're realizing their words don't mean as much as they used to?
Well, they could be questioning their effectiveness.
Yeah.
And that actually ties into another major theme
Okay.
that we see in both sources.
Yeah.
That's this feeling of disillusionment
Right.
and fatigue.
It's like that feeling of, like,
Yeah.
you've been fighting for something for so long,
Yeah.
and you're just like,
Yeah.
is it even worth it anymore?
Exactly.
And we see this a lot in the Reddit thread.
I agree. And the Hollywood Reporter even touches on that sentiment, too.
Yeah.
And some people are even pointing out that in the 2024 election,
Mhm.
those big celebrity endorsements didn't really seem to do anything.
It's like
You know?
they're realizing that maybe they don't have the power they thought they did.
Maybe.
Yeah, so we've got fear,
Mm-hmm.
we've got disillusionment.
Yeah.
Is there anything else that's fueling this silence?
Well, there's one theory that I saw on Reddit
Okay.
that's pretty interesting.
Yeah, I'm intrigued.
They're calling it the quarantine approach.
Okay, what is that?
So the idea is that by not giving Trump attention, by just ignoring him,
Yeah.
they're actually limiting his influence.
So instead of, like, engaging in a battle,
Right.
they're just starving the beast.
Exactly.
Okay.
But this obviously comes with its own issues.
Yeah, like, what are some of the counter arguments?
Well, some people think it's basically surrender. Like, they're giving up and letting Trump control the narrative.
So it's self-preservation,
Yeah. Huh?
But is it a betrayal of their audience?
That's the question.
Yeah.
It's tough.
What responsibility do entertainers have to speak out?
Right.
Are we putting too much pressure on them?
It's a tricky one.
Yeah. But before we jump into that debate,
Yeah.
let's not forget about another big factor in Hollywood.
What's that?
Money.
Yes, of course.
The bottom line.
Right.
It's a business.
Exactly.
So a lot of Reddit users are saying that maybe there's a financial motive
Interesting.
for all of this silence.
Yeah.
Like, what if they're worried about alienating Trump supporters?
That's a good point.
And then they lose out on a part of their audience.
Makes sense.
Because antagonizing someone like Trump,
Yeah.
who we know
Right.
holds grudges,
For sure.
that could have real financial consequences.
Absolutely. And that fear is probably made worse
Mm-hmm.
by how successful those conservative media personalities are in their shows. Like the Hollywood Reporter mentioned, Reacher and
Yeah.
Yellowstone.
Uh-huh.
They're super popular.
Yeah.
And they cater to a very different audience.
Right. So it seems like Hollywood is stuck
Kind of.
between a rock and a hard place.
Yeah.
Because if they alienate Trump,
Right.
they could lose money.
Mm-hmm.
But if they stay silent, they're basically letting him win.
It's tough.
Yeah. And it's understandable that they're hesitant.
For sure.
All right. So we've talked about fear.
Yeah.
We've talked about disillusionment,
Mm-hmm.
strategic silence,
Yeah.
and financial pressures.
Right.
But there's one more angle
Okay.
that really stood out to me in the Reddit discussion.
What's that?
The silence of Democratic politicians.
Oh, yeah. A lot of Reddit users are comparing that to the vocal support that Trump's getting.
Right. They're naming names
Uh-huh.
like Joe Rogan,
Oh, yeah.
Matt Walsh,
Right.
Ben Shapiro,
Mm-hmm.
who have all been very vocal in their support for Trump.
Yeah, it's like they're saying, where are our guys?
Yeah.
Exactly. Where's the other side?
It's an interesting observation.
Yeah. And I think that
Yeah.
lack of support from their own political allies
Mm-hmm.
probably makes Hollywood feel even more alone in this fight.
Absolutely.
It's like,
Yeah.
if even our politicians won't speak up,
Yeah.
then what chance do we have?
Makes you wonder about the state of political discourse.
Yeah, like in general.
In general, it's
Yeah.
kind of bleak. when you
Yeah.
think about it.
Yeah,
Like, if they're not even willing to speak up,
exactly.
what does that say
Right,
about where we are?
exactly. And that brings us back to
Yeah.
the whole question of Hollywood's influence.
Right.
And is it waning?
Yeah.
And maybe this is just a sign of a much larger trend
Uh-huh.
of people just being tired
Mm.
and not knowing what to do.
Yeah. Feeling overwhelmed.
Yeah, and not knowing how to make their voices heard anymore.
Exactly.
But I think the bigger question here
Yeah.
is the silence actually backfiring?
Oh, that's a great point. Yeah. Is ignoring the problem making it worse?
I see what you're saying.
Because think about it.
Yeah.
The film itself,
Right.
The Apprentice,
Uh-huh.
has gotten amazing review,
Right. It's critically acclaimed.
but it's struggling to find an audience.
Yeah.
And it just feels very symbolic
It really does.
of the broader issue.
Right.
You have this film that could actually spark important conversations
Uh-huh.
about power,
Mm-hmm.
about the role of media,
Right.
the dangers of ambition,
Yeah.
but it's being met with silence
Wow.
out of fear of the very forces it depicts.
It's a fascinating paradox.
Isn't it?
It really is.
Like, are we avoiding these conversations?
Right.
And that's giving more power
Yeah.
to the very thing that we fear.
Absolutely. We're missing a chance to use art as a way to understand these issues.
Yeah.
And even challenge them.
Exactly. Instead, we're just retreating into our own little corners.
Yeah, like we're afraid to engage.
Yeah, but,
Yeah. Yeah.
this isn't just about Hollywood.
Yeah. It's true.
This whole conversation about their silence
Mm-hmm.
makes me think about
Yeah.
the choices that each of us makes
Right.
every single day
Uh-huh.
when it comes to speaking out
Mm-hmm.
or not speaking out.
Mm-hmm.
We all have those moments
Right.
where we hesitate to say what we really think.
Especially on controversial topics.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Whether it's at work,
Mm-hmm.
on social media, or even like at dinner with your family, there's a
Uh,
sense of
Yeah.
self-censorship.
Yeah, it's like you're afraid to rock the boat.
Yeah.
I think that's a big trend, like
Mhm.
self-preservation,
Yeah.
especially in this world where everything you say can be taken out of context
Right.
and amplified online.
Yeah. It's like we're all walking on eggshells
Yeah,
and we're worried about saying the wrong thing.
absolutely.
So what does that mean for us?
Right.
For our ability to actually talk to each other
Mm-hmm.
and create change.
That's the big question. And it comes back to our responsibility, not just as entertainers or politicians,
Yeah.
but as citizens.
Yeah.
If we're all too afraid to talk,
Yeah.
then who's going to speak up?
And what happens to the people who are already being silenced?
Exactly.
Like, whose voices are we allowing to be drowned out by not doing anything?
Those are the questions we got to ask ourselves.
Yeah.
This isn't just a Hollywood issue.
Right.
It affects everyone,
Yeah.
how we see power,
Mm-hmm.
how we engage in these discussions,
Right.
even how we consume art and entertainment.
It impacts everything.
Yeah, it really does.
And it affects our ability to create a better world.
It's true.
You know what? I'm starting to see this silence, not as just like a simple problem with an easy solution,
Right.
but as a symptom of some much deeper anxieties.
I agree. It's like a warning sign
Yeah.
for some much bigger problems.
Right. Like we've talked about fear.
Yeah.
We've talked about disillusionment. We've talked about strategic silence, financial motives,
Right.
even the quietude from the Democrats.
Yeah.
But now I'm wondering, what's next?
That's a good question.
Like, what's the takeaway for the listener?
Right.
What have they learned from this whole thing about Hollywood silence?
Well, I think the biggest takeaway is this.
Okay.
Understanding the power of silence,
Mm-hmm.
but also the potential downsides.
Right.
Like, it can be used to shut people down.
Yeah.
Or to protect people from criticism.
Uh-huh.
Or even as a way to get what you want.
Okay.
But it can also mean giving up or missing an opportunity.
Right.
Or it could mean that there's something much bigger going on.
Yeah.
Something that's making people afraid.
So it's like
Yeah.
silence is this multifaceted tool.
It really is.
And it's up to each of us to figure out how we're going to use it.
Exactly.
And I think that brings us to the biggest question of all.
What's that?
What role are you going to play
Oh.
in shaping how we talk about politics?
Right.
Are you going to let silence call the shots?
Right.
Or are you going to find your voice and use it?
Mm.
Are you going to stay quiet? Or are you going to challenge the way things are?
Those are the choices we have.
Yeah, and this isn't just about The Apprentice anymore. This is about everything.
Exactly.
It's about how we engage with the world around us.
It's about our future.
Yeah, so what if this isn't the end of the story?
Ooh.
What if this is just the beginning of something new?
Interesting.
We've talked about Hollywood maybe losing its power and traditional media struggling to keep up with social media.
Yeah.
But maybe that actually creates space
Okay.
for new voices to come in,
Oh, I see.
new ways of telling stories
Right.
and talking about politics. Maybe instead of being sad that the old systems are dying,
Yeah.
we should be looking for the good that comes from that disruption.
I like that.
Yeah. So maybe this is a chance for artists,
Yeah.
for activists,
Uh-huh.
for everyday people
Right.
to take back control of the story
Mm-hmm.
and use the tools that we have.
Like social media and stuff.
Yeah, all the tools of the digital age
Mm-hmm.
to build new platforms
Right.
and talk directly to people.
That's a really cool idea.
Yeah, and maybe that's where the real power is.
Yeah.
Not in the hands of a few powerful people,
Right.
but in the collective voice of all of us
Yeah.
who refuse to be silenced.
It's empowering.
Yeah, and you know what?
What?
That actually reminds me of
Yeah.
the quarantine approach.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, because on the surface,
Right.
it seems passive,
Yeah.
but maybe it's actually strategic.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe it's a way to regroup
Oh.
and find new ways to resist.
Interesting.
Like they're saying,
Yeah.
we're not going to play your game anymore.
Mm-hmm.
We're making our own rules.
Well, I like that.
And in that new game,
Yeah.
the power dynamics completely change.
Wow.
Imagine a world
Yeah.
where creative expression
Uh.
and political engagement
Mm-hmm.
aren't controlled by studios
Hmm.
or algorithms, but by all of us.
By the people.
Exactly.
That's amazing.
That's a powerful vision.
It really is.
But it takes all of us to
Yeah.
step up and be a part of it.
It's not about waiting for someone else to lead.
Right.
It's about recognizing that we all have a role to play.
Yeah, so as we wrap up this deep dive
Mm-hmm.
into Hollywood's silence,
Yeah.
I want to leave the listener with this thought.
Okay.
What if this isn't the end?
Mm.
What if this is just the beginning?
Wow.
What if this moment of quiet
Yeah.
is actually where all the new ideas are going to come from?
That's a cool way to think about it.
Yeah, new ways of resisting,
Mm.
new creative expressions
Yeah.
that challenge the status quo.
Uh-huh.
A new kind of democracy where everyone's voice matters.
That's powerful.
So we've explored the fear,
Yeah.
the disillusionment,
Mm.
the strategic silence,
Right.
the financial stuff,
Right.
even the Democrats being quiet.
Yeah.
But ultimately,
Yeah.
the choice is yours. Are you going to embrace the silence,
Hmm.
or are you going to find your voice
Ooh.
and use it to make a difference?
That's up to us.
Exactly.
Wow.
That's all the time we have for this episode of The Deep Dive.
Okay.
We hope you enjoyed exploring this whole idea of Hollywood's silence.
It's been fascinating.
Yeah, and we'd love to hear your thoughts.
Absolutely.
So share it with us on social media.
Yeah.
And until next time, keep diving deep.
Dive deep. It really makes you wonder if this is like a symptom of something bigger, you know?
Yeah.
Like a societal fatigue when it comes to politics.
Right. It's like we're all just overwhelmed.
Yeah.
And we don't even know how to make our voices heard anymore.
It's a lot.
It is. But I think this whole situation raises an even bigger question.
Okay.
Is this silence actually hurting us?
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah.
Like backfiring.
Exactly. Is ignoring the problem.
Right.
Making it worse. Especially when you think about the fact that the movie itself,
right, The Apprentice,
has gotten all this critical acclaim.
Right, critics love it.
But nobody's going to see it.
Yeah, it's not finding an audience.
And it just feels so symbolic.
That's the bigger problem.
For sure.
Yeah.
Here we have this film.
Yeah.
That could start these important conversations.
Right, about the stuff we're talking about.
Exactly. Like, what is power? How does media work? What happens when ambition goes unchecked?
Yeah.
But everybody's silent.
Wow.
Maybe because they're afraid of the very forces that the film is about.
That's wild.
It's crazy.
It's a paradox.
Yeah, it really is.
For sure.
And it makes you wonder, are we missing a chance to actually use art to help us understand and maybe even challenge these really difficult issues?
That divide us.
Exactly.
Yeah. And
we're just,
like retreating.
Yeah, and we're afraid to engage.
And have those tough conversations.
And this is bigger than Hollywood.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
This is about all of us.
It's a societal thing.
Yeah. This whole conversation about their silence makes me think about the choices that we all make every day when we decide, do we speak up?
Right.
Or do we stay quiet?
A constant dilemma.
It is.
Yeah.
We all have those moments when we hesitate to say what we really think.
Especially when it's something controversial.
Exactly. Like it could be at work. It could be on social media.
Right.
It could even be at dinner.
Yeah.
With your family.
With your family. Like you don't want to rock the boat.
Yeah,
you don't want to
cause any drama.
Yeah, exactly. And there's this sense of self-censorship.
Yeah. It's like we censor ourselves before anyone else can. Yeah. And I think that comes from this need to protect ourselves.
Right.
Especially in a world where everything we say can be taken out of context and amplified online.
Yeah. It's like we're all walking on eggshells.
We're terrified of saying the wrong thing.
Absolutely.
So what does that mean for us?
Yeah.
For our ability to have real conversations and actually make a difference?
That's the question.
It is, right.
Yeah.
And it comes back to our responsibility.
Our responsibility as citizens.
Not as celebrities.
Right. Not just that.
Not as politicians. As citizens.
Well, it's on all of us.
If we're too afraid to talk,
then
who's going to speak up?
Yeah.
And what about the people who are already being silenced?
Yeah. Whose voices are we missing out on?
Because we're not saying anything.
Because we're too afraid.
Yeah. We got to ask ourselves these questions.
We do.
This isn't just a Hollywood issue.
It's so much bigger.
It affects all of us.
Right. It affects how we see power, how we talk about politics, even how we enjoy art and entertainment.
Yeah, it affects.
It's woven into everything.
Everything.
Yeah, it really is.
And our ability to build a better world.
A more just world.
You know what?
Yeah.
I'm starting to see this silence. Not as a problem that has a simple solution, but as a symptom of much deeper anxieties.
Like it's a canary in the coal mine.
Yes.
It's a warning that something's wrong.
Like we've talked about the fear, the disillusionment, strategic silence, money playing a role, even the Democrats being quiet. But now I'm wondering, what's the takeaway?
What do we do with this information?
Yeah, what's the takeaway for the listener?
Right.
What have we learned from all of this?
From this deep dive?
About Hollywood's silence.
I think the biggest takeaway is this.
Okay.
Recognizing the power of silence and also the potential problems with it.
Yeah.
Like, it can be used to control people, to shield people from criticism, or even as a strategy to get what you want.
Interesting.
But it can also mean giving up or missing a chance to do something.
Right.
Or it could even be a sign that something much bigger is happening.
Something scary.
Something that's making people afraid.
Yeah. So it's like
it's complex.
Silence is this tool.
Yeah, it's a tool.
With many sides.
Many faces.
And it's up to us to decide how we're going to use it.
How we wield that tool.
So I think that leads us to the biggest question.
Ooh, the big one.
What role are you going to play?
Ooh, that's good.
In how we talk about politics.
Yeah.
Are you going to let silence dictate how this all goes down?
Right.
Or are you going to find your voice?
Yeah.
And actually use it?
Mm-hmm.
Are you going to stay quiet?
Right.
Or are you going to challenge the way things are?
It's a choice we all have to make.
We do. And this isn't just about The Apprentice anymore.
It's just bigger.
This is about how we engage with the whole world around us.
It's about how we move forward.
It is.
As a society.
Yeah. So what if this isn't the end?
Okay.
What if this is just the beginning?
Ooh, I like that.
We talked about Hollywood losing its power. Traditional media is struggling.
Right. They can't keep up.
To keep up with social media.
With the speed of the internet.
But maybe that creates space for new voices.
I see what you're saying.
To emerge.
Yeah.
New ways of telling stories. New ways of talking about politics.
Like a new wave.
Yeah. Maybe instead of being sad.
Right.
That the old ways are dying. We should look for the opportunity.
The opportunity in the chaos.
Yes.
I love that.
So maybe this is a chance for artists, activists,
regular people, everyday people, to take back control of the narrative. Take back the story. And use the tools that we have. The tools of the digital age, social media, all of that.
To build new platforms and connect it directly with people.
That's amazing.
And maybe that's where the real power is.
Yeah.
Not in the hands of a few powerful people.
Not the elites.
But in the collective voice. Of all of us.
Collective.
Who refuse to be silenced.
That's powerful.
It is, right?
It really is.
And you know, that makes me think about the quarantine approach again.
Oh, yeah.
Because it might seem passive.
Yeah, on the surface.
But maybe it's strategic. Maybe it's a way to step back, regroup, and find new ways to resist.
Or fight back.
Yeah, it's like they're saying, we're not playing your game anymore.
Right.
We're making our own.
We're changing the rules.
And in that new game, everything changes.
The whole power dynamic shifts.
Imagine a world where creativity and political engagement aren't controlled by studios' algorithms. But by us.
By the people?
By the people.
That's amazing.
It's a powerful vision.
It really is.
But it takes all of us to make it happen.
It's a group effort.
We all have to step up.
And contribute.
And be a part of it.
Right. It's not about waiting for someone else to lead the way.
We have to lead ourselves.
We have to be the change.
So as we wrap up this deep dive into Hollywood silence. I want to leave the listener with this.
Okay.
What if this isn't the end of the story? What if this is just the beginning of a new chapter?
I love that.
What if this moment of quiet is actually a breeding ground?
Oh, wow.
For new forms of resistance.
Right.
New creative expressions.
Yeah. New ways of...
That challenge the status quo.
Challenging the system.
A new kind of democracy. Where every voice matters.
Where everyone has a say.
We've talked about the fear, the disillusionment, the strategic silence, the money.
The money always plays a role.
And even the Democrats being quiet. But ultimately, the choice is yours.
Ooh, I like that.
Will you embrace the silence? Or will you find your voice?
Ooh.
And use it to make a difference?
Powerful stuff.
So we've explored all the complexities.
Yeah, we went deep.
Of fear, disillusionment, strategic silence. We looked at how the media landscape is changing.
Yeah, it's a whole new world.
And the responsibility that we all have in shaping the future of political discourse.
How we talk about politics.
But at the end of the day, it's up to you.
You have the power.
To decide what role you're going to play.
Wow. That's a great way to end it.
So that's all the time we have for this episode of The Deep Dive.
Okay.
I hope you enjoyed this exploration of Hollywood's curious silence.
It's been fascinating.
And we'd love to hear your thoughts.
Yeah.
So share them with us on social media.
Let us know what you think.
And until next time.
Yeah.
Keep diving deep.
Dive deep.
It's like we're all just kind of like accepting this silence, both in Hollywood and in our own lives.
Like it's become the norm.
But what if, instead of just giving in, we saw this as like an opportunity.
That's interesting.
Like we talked about how Hollywood might be losing its influence.
Yeah.
And how traditional media is struggling to keep up with social media.
Right.
But maybe that actually opens up space for new voices.
Oh, I see. To be heard. Like new people coming in?
Yeah, like what if this is a chance for artists, activists, everyday people, to like take back the narrative.
Wow.
And use all the tools of the digital age to build new platforms and connect with people directly.
That's awesome.
Yeah, and maybe that's where the real power is. Not in like the hands of a few, but in the collective voice.
The collective voice.
Of everyone.
Of the people.
Who are saying, we're not going to be silent.
We're not going to be silent.
And that reminds me of the quarantine approach. Because, it seems passive.
Right.
But maybe it's actually like a strategic retreat. A way to like regroup and find new ways to resist.
To fight back.
It's like they're saying, we're not playing by your rules anymore. We're creating our own game.
Ooh, I like that.
And in that new game, the power dynamics can totally shift.
Wow.
Imagine a world where creative expression and political engagement aren't controlled by studios or algorithms, but by people.
By the people.
By the people.
That's amazing.
It's a powerful vision.
It's a beautiful vision.
But it takes all of us to make it happen.
We all got to do our part.
We can't just wait for someone else to lead the way.
We got to be the leaders.
We got to lead ourselves.
Exactly.
So as we wrap up this deep dive into Hollywood's silence, let's leave our listener with this one thought.
All right, I'm ready.
What if this isn't the end?
Ooh.
What if this is just the beginning?
The beginning of something new.
What if this moment of quiet is actually a breeding ground for new forms of resistance? New ways of expressing ourselves that challenge the way things are.
That challenge the status quo.
And a new kind of democracy where every single voice matters.
Where everyone counts.
We've explored.
Yeah, we went deep.
The fear. The disillusionment. The strategic silence.
Right. The money's always there.
Even the Democrats being quiet.
Yeah, they've been quiet.
But ultimately, it's your choice.
Ooh, I like it.
Will you embrace the silence? Or will you find your voice?
Ooh.
And use it to make a difference?
Powerful stuff.
We've talked about all the complexities.
Yeah, we dug deep.
Of fear, disillusionment, strategic silence. We looked at how the media landscape is changing.
Yeah, it's a whole new world.
And the responsibility that we all share in shaping how we talk about politics.
How we talk about the things that matter.
But in the end, it's up to you.
You have the power
to decide what role you're going to play.
That's a great way to end it.
That's all the time we have for this episode of The Deep Dive.
Okay.
We hope you enjoyed this exploration of Hollywood's curious silence.
It's been a wild ride.
We'd love to hear what you think.
Yeah.
So share your thoughts with us on social media.
Let's keep the conversation going.
And until next time, keep diving deep.
Dive deep.